you don't watch this video, you've already accepted that you're not gonna close another deal this year, and you're now working on 2026 pipeline. Most brokers use the summer and they just take it off. Don't be that guy. You don't wanna be the person on the golf course simply wasting their summer away. I'll show you exactly how I use the summer to build a six-figure commercial real estate pipeline, and I'll break it down step by step in this video. As a market leader, I led 120 producers who closed on average $1 billion in annual sales volume. I know exactly what works for the most successful real estate agents, and I'll break that down and show you step by step how you too can use these tips and tactics, especially in a market like this. Stick around to the end and I'll share my exact scripts, templates, techniques, and tools that you can use to build a six-figure pipeline over the next 60 days. Most brokers drift through the summer under the assumption that no one is working. No one is doing deals, no one's doing business. That's all false. It's actually the opposite. The 60 days that you can lock in during what I call summer madness, that can be the difference between setting you apart from the pack and putting you into a position to really dominate your market, or be with the other 90% of brokers who simply have taken the summer off. If you follow these tips and techniques that we'll share today, you will put yourself in a position for sustainable income, a strong year-end pipeline, but also, and more importantly, setting up your next year to be successful and to be better than the last. Let's break down summer madness and this challenge step by step. Week one is all about focusing on your CRM, your client relationship management software, your database, call it your Rolodex, whatever you want to call it, that's what we're working on. It's key that you use this week to clean up any discrepancies, any inaccurate information, because you have to be able to then re-engage with those contacts in your CRM. And by re-engaging, I will look at this as a couple of different ways. Number one, think about the warm relationships. I call that the low-hanging fruit. These are clients or people that you've already done business with. There's no such thing as a old or former client. They're simply active and inactive. So when you look at that list of clients that may be inactive, you have to find a way to re-engage with those owners of real estate. That's priority number one. Don't lose the ground and the momentum that you've already built and the relationship that have already been formed. Week two, you have to establish some daily goals and weekly targets for prospecting. There's no way around it. In commercial real estate, the only way to gain momentum and generate traction is to go to the market. And going to the market requires an outbound approach to having conversation and engaging with owners of real estate. In week two, begin your process of holding yourself accountable to what steps will you do every single day, rain or shine, holiday or not, vacation or not, that will ultimately feed into your pipeline. And for me, that's a minimum daily number of contacts. When I started in the business, 250 outbound dials per week was standard. And that's what I did for at least the first 6 months of my career without fail. Because I knew that if I dialed 250 phone numbers, I will likely have somewhere around 25 conversations. On a 5-day work week, that's 5 quality conversations per day. And if I had 5 conversations per day, regardless of how good or bad I was on the phone, I could probably get at least one of those 5 phone conversations to convert or result into an in-person meeting. Listen, I can't tell you what's necessary for your business. I can't tell you what is required. All I know is that you have to personally be accountable for whatever metrics you're going to hold yourself accountable to. So maybe that's a number of conversations, maybe that's a number of outbound dials. Whatever it is, you have to determine in week two what is going to be your non-negotiable and set a range of targets. I like to look at a range of activity in terms of lowest level of acceptability to the target or goal if all things work out. Some call it a floor target game model. So for example, if my goal is to, in a week's time, I might have a floor of 20 quality conversations, a target of 25, and a game or stretch goal of 30. So before I can actually arrive at that conversation metric, I then have to look back on historically, how many dials has it taken me to have that many conversations? And back into my business plan exactly how I plan on executing that weekly goal. And that outbound engine, it doesn't have to only be phone calls. You should also think about, how do you leverage LinkedIn? How do you leverage email? How do you leverage other touch points that can be used with the same purpose of generating conversations and activity? So in week two, Set your goals by starting with what is the minimum level of acceptable activity up to what is the, if all things work out, best case scenario. And think about that over the course of multiple channels, including phone, email, text message, even drop-ins. Simply knocking on an owner's door, if they were to have an office location, I'm not talking about going to their house, but if they're a professional owner, chances are they have an office where they run their business out of that location. Drop in, knock on the door, find all the different touch points that you can do in that second week, commit to those activities, and hold yourself accountable in moving forward. Here's a pro tip. If you don't schedule time to do these things, it's much more difficult to actually accomplish them. So once you identify what those goals are, schedule and time block time on your calendar to actually execute those and do the work. Week 3 is all about creating a lead magnet. You have to find a way of adding value to the marketplace. And let's be honest, do you want a property valuation offer? It falls flat. And here's why it falls flat. When you think about the life cycle of an apartment owner, there's the day that you acquire the asset, there's the day that you sell the asset, and there might be some time in between where you refinance. But if we're talking about a 30-unit building that was acquired with bank debt, there might be a 5, 7, or 10-year note on that loan. That 5, 7, or 10-year term often coincides with the hold period for that owner of real estate. So that's 5 or 7 years where that owner is doing something other than buying or selling. Therein lies the opportunity. You have to create a lead magnet that's compelling enough and relevant enough to get that owner of real estate to say yes to that meeting. Examples of that could be a rent survey, a well-packaged survey that shows where 30 or 40 assets, their current occupancy, the amenities, the asking rents, the effective rents when you factor in concessions, the utility structure. These are things that are relevant to a property owner because who doesn't want to know what the competition is up to? That's one example. Another example is as you're making your cold calls, use that time to ask questions such as, across your portfolio, what are the 3 most common maintenance requests that you're seeing in today's market? That might guide you and inform you with ways that you can then create an operational survey. Most owners are always interested in learning about how to increase revenue, therefore rents, or reduce operating expenses. So if you can help them identify a path to operate their property better, and if you can increase revenue and reduce operating expenses, NOI, therefore value is improved, you are now an advisor and they are looking for someone like you. Because again, in that 5 or 7 year hold period, there's only 2 times they're really thinking about transacting, and that's buying and selling. You have to be someone that adds value in between. Last but not least, maybe you survey vendors and you begin to assemble standard quotes for certain common maintenance items. That could be an electrical rewire. That could be a roof replacement. That could be a number of things, but think about what's relevant for your business and your audience, and simply start to compile some market standard estimates from vendors that can deliver. Those are also things that, again, when you're delivering value in this week 3 and focusing on creating a deliverable, can be really helpful in getting that owner of real estate to say yes to the meeting because you have something that's compelling enough for them to say yes, not your common ask, which is, let's put a face with the name. Or I'm calling because I wanted to offer you a valuation of your property. Think through how to be more creative and therefore create a deliverable in week 3 that's compelling enough. And here's a pro tip. Don't wait for perfection. There's progress made over perfection. So ship it and move on and let that momentum build into another opportunity. Week 4, you're focused on conversion. You've done the hard work, you've cleaned up your database, you've made outbound phone calls, you have a deliverable now that you can lever into helping increase the probability and likelihood of getting these owners to say yes. Week 4 is all about converting these opportunities. So going through your list, your old relationships, your inactive clients, your cold clients, and your top 25 list, you're going through this CRM now with a tool. You're armed and ready to convert. It's all about using these tools and deliverables to convert and get someone to advance that relationship. Listen, if you need scripts, I'll provide those below. But you have to now use everything that you've done over the last 3 weeks and simply convert. So set your goal for number of conversations, number of in-person meetings, number of BOV opportunities, number of sets of financials provided from a seller. These are all the things that you need to set goals for and measure over the next 30 days. So your first 4 weeks has now been spent on preparing a deliverable and now converting those conversations. Over the next 30 days, and therefore 60 total, if you repeat this cycle week over week, you have no choice but to add true opportunities that are qualified and high probability opportunities to your pipeline. So week 4 is all about converting and measure that conversion. And if there's ways that you can improve and tweak certain things to increase the likelihood of conversion, work on that. But you have to measure and track this progress over the next couple of weeks. Here's a pro tip. I have a sample touchpoint schedule that gives over 30 ways that you can touch the market. Use that touchpoint schedule with your top 25 list, and every single day, find another way of touching that owner that is not a second or third or fourth phone call. The phone is only one touch point. Leverage these other 30 plus touch points to get in front of that audience, but commit to doing at least one of those touch points per day until you have someone who's committed to at least have a conversation with you. Here's the result. In 60 days, with consistent effort and daily activity, I've now built a 6-figure commercial real estate pipeline based only on the 60 days of activity that I've been fully focused on. The Summer Madness Challenge has been what I've used personally to build my own pipeline throughout the summer, as well as dozens of Revolt CRE community members who have also committed to this challenge. If you want my exact script, templates, and everything in between, DM me challenge. There's a booking link where you can schedule time to meet with me one-on-one. So subscribe, like, and share, and schedule some time to meet with me one-on-one to discuss how I can share this Summer Madness Challenge with you to help you grow your pipeline 6 figures in the next 60 days as well. The link is in the description. Remember, consistency is your edge, summer is your window. Let's build together. I'll see you in the next one.